In the Factor follow-up segment tonight, President Obama wants to force so-called rich people to give more money to Washington.
Some will argue we should not even consider ever raising taxes, even if only on the wealthiest Americans. It's just an article of faith to them. I say that at a time when the tax burden on the wealthy is at its lowest level in half a century, the most fortunate among us can afford to pay a little more. I don't need another tax cut.
But a new AP poll says that about 62% of Americans want to cut government services to fix the deficit, while only about 29% want us to pay more in taxes. Joining us now from New York is Erica Payne. She's the coordinator of the group Patriotic Millionaires for Fiscal Responsibility. I can't even do that acronym that quickly. And one of those millionaires, Jeffrey Garral. Jeffrey and Erica, great to see both of you. Jeffrey, just because I see your tie, you must be the millionaire in this equation, right? So
hey.
We were trying to come up with something like Slumdog Millionaire, but the anti-Slumdog Millionaire. You're wealthy, you've done well in your life, and you want to pay more in taxes. Is that correct?
Well, I think that we've got a mess on our hands that both sides are responsible for, and in order to get out of it, I think all Americans have to help. And frankly, if it means that I've got to pay more taxes, I'm prepared to do that. I think it's unfair to put the burden just on middle income and poor people. Now, having said that, I have no desire to see the government piss away this money, and I think we all agree that we've got to cut spending dramatically. I think we've got to cut taxes on small business. They create the most jobs. But having said that, I think it's only fair to ask the wealthiest Americans to do their share. And I certainly, just before I came here, as a matter of fact, I wrote a check for $850,000 for my April 15th tax payment.
Oh, now we're learning a lot about you. I love this.
Right.
You're very forthcoming with your personal information. Jeffrey, so you wrote that money. That's a big check. We'll get Erica in on this in a second. But what's stopping you from writing a bigger check, right? Presumably you could write quite a much bigger check if you wanted to. Did anyone tell you couldn't, or is preventing you from giving you that money, giving them the money?
Truthfully, if I knew that writing a bigger check would only go to pay down the deficit, I'd be happy to write a bigger check. If you want to know what I really think we should
write that in the memo part of the check. Just say only to be used for paying down the deficit.
Well, but you can't do that.
That?
I think you know where's this theory about lowering taxes that creates all these jobs? The first thing Bill Clinton
Well, we know one thing that doesn't create jobs, Jeffrey. Let me tell you what doesn't create jobs.
What?
Obamacare didn't create jobs. The stimulus didn't create jobs. We've lost and bled 8 million jobs since the beginning of this recession. Barack Obama pledged a lot of things, including millions and millions of new jobs, saved or created. It hasn't come to fruition. It's been a colossal waste of money. But Erica, let me get you in on this, and
Sure.
Jeff, you can come back in on this because I want Erica to have a point of view.
Look,
again, if people want to pay more money, they can pay more money. I mean, I am so tired of hearing all these millionaires, well, we should pay more money in taxes. It's all falling on the backs of the middle class. The lower 50% of the tax class in this country pays 3% of the overall tax burden. The upper 2% pays about 97.6%. So
Laura,
the idea that the rich isn't paying its share is a joke.
So, Laura, I just want to correct you on one thing. The month that George Bush left office, we were losing 750,000 jobs a month. And last month in the private sector, we added 200,000 jobs. And so that's a good step in the right direction. We're definitely not all the way there. I think what Jeff and the 100 other millionaires who signed this letter, including the founder of some of our best-known companies, a bunch of people from Google, the founder of Ask.com, the founder of Men's Warehouse, the founder of Ben & Jerry's, really prominent business
that's a real
people
representative bunch.
Who know there aren't that many millionaires in the country.
I mean,
actually,
there are about
Garcia,
375,000
millionaires out of 307 million people, and they are paying the lowest taxes they've ever paid really in about the last 60 years. So Jeff and his patriotic millionaire friends have come forward and just said, you know what, we all need to dig in a little bit and help our country through this period of time, and they'd like to do that. Unfortunately, if they write a check themselves, that's not going to be enough. It's a big hole, Laura. It's a real big hole.
Erica,
it's something that everybody needs to contribute to.
Let me get in on that point, because This is a wild fiction that has been perpetrated by the left, and I guess George Soros is one of the guys doing it. But even if the people who are above 100%, $100,000 or more they make a year, even if they're taxed at the highest level contemplated, that doesn't even cover this year's deficit spending. When you do the math, you know, Journal has done this, I believe The Economist has done this, Financial Times has looked at this. That doesn't even cover Obama's deficit spending for 1 year. So the idea that this is somehow going to deliver us out of our evil economic state that we're in, the only thing that's going to do that, and you're the businessman here, Mr. Agrawal, is it increasing the GDP. If we actually increase growth and productivity in the United States, which is what we're supposed to be doing, then we're going to have a lot more revenues coming in, and then you'll probably, I guess, maybe be a lot happier.
Yeah, but Laura, you don't let anybody speak. The fact is that when Bill Clinton came into office, the first thing he did was raise taxes on people. When George Bush came into, and by the way, when Clinton left office, we had a budget surplus. I made a fortune. Everybody did great. When George Bush came into office, the first thing he did was take your advice, lowered taxes for everybody, invaded 2 countries, and now we have a mess on our hands.
And Barack Obama's still in those 2 countries, and now is engaged in another military conflict. I'll see you those military conflicts and raise you Libya, which is a
Laura,
disaster.
Let me ask you a question.
That's not how it works. Maybe in real estate you can do that, but not on this show.
Well,
let me tell you why those numbers that you just put out are false. The unexpected revenue windfalls from Bill Clinton's time in office, his second term, were largely the consequence of lower tax rates on capital gains. People were making an enormous amount of money on capital gains in those boom years. That's what brought a lot of money into the federal treasury, and that's my last word on this. You guys, we appreciate it.